Hello everyone, and today we're going to be talking about why I believe Splatoon Raiders is an open world game, and we're also going to be talking about why it needs to be open world to feel like a fresh new game. As well as that, we'll be going through the trailer and looking at different points that I believe prove that Nintendo was indeed teasing that it's open world in our teaser trailer for Splatoon Raiders. With that said, let's jump right into it. The first thing I want to talk about is why the game needs to be open world. Because the previous Splatoon games that we've had all have had a story mode, and those have had, a lot of levels and stuff, but none of them were obviously open world. Now, the hub area has been a little bit more open, obviously, but it's not going to be, as open as an open world game, because the goal of the Splatoon story mode is to give extra content while also focusing on the multiplayer. But with this game, it doesn't have multiplayer in the sense of online multiplayer. It could have co-op. I probably would think it would have co-op just because Nintendo really likes that. But this game definitely isn't focused on online multiplayer. So they're going to be focusing on the story and on the world building. And if it is going to feel new, I feel like they can't really go for a island and then a smaller island hub area and then kettles. Like, they can't do the same thing as the story modes, or else it's just going to feel like less of a game and more like a cutoff of Splatoon 4 could have been this plus multiplayer online, but they just took this part. Like, it needs to feel like a huge game that's going to be worth its most likely $70 price tag. So when it comes to the game feeling new, they can't go for the style of game that the other 3 Splatoon games had. It has to feel new. And I don't think they're going to go for a strategy-based game because it just isn't really shown that way in the trailer and teaser. It is shown as an adventure game, and I would feel like as an adventure game, it definitely should be open world. But there are a few things in the trailer that really lead me to believe it absolutely is open world, and I'm going to show you all of that. So first of all, here we are, and we're going to be going through frame by frame looking at this. But when we start out right here, you can see some bit of islands, but it's all obviously covered up in this fog mist. So you can't see much, but you can see that there are definitely structures here, and that would seem to be, the area that you're going to be in the game. Here again, in this part, we can also see more. We can see islands over here and up here, and obviously it looks like they're just smaller islands all about, but this fog is covering up the bottom layer, so I think it probably... And also, this is not a finished game, so this is just a bit of what we're seeing. But this does look like there's fog at the bottom of these, so I don't think that's actually like a finished bit of what we're... Like, these are not just small islands we're going to be on. Like, I feel like this fog is covering up the bottom layer. These are the tops of the mountain ranges, if you will. So obviously, we see this light in the middle, and we see all of that. And the light bursts forth, and that doesn't really shine any light on any of the other islands. We don't see much more. When it bursts out, we can see a little bit more structure here in the middle. These little tiny things kind of look like bone pieces, maybe. But yeah, we do see that. And then we see the reflection of water right here. So there definitely seems to be water surrounding whatever this is in the middle. And then, as we can see here, we still see these mountain ranges. And it looks like this is starting to swirl inward. And then here is when we start to see a little bit more after of the swirl, and we can see more. There's a mountain range here, but we don't get to see any further down. I think Nintendo did that on purpose so that they were teasing the open world, but not actually showing it yet, because they want to show that later. And this is important for the open world because we'll need a way to travel to the different islands. So it may not be all connected. That would be really dumb if there were separate islands and each island was pretty big. So kind of like Mario Odyssey, where each world was decently big but not open world. That would be a bummer for me, but I mean, they could go that direction, but they're already doing that with Donkey Kong Bonanza, so I feel like they wouldn't do that just again for another game. But we can see islands back here that look pretty big. If you look back, they go pretty far back there. Obviously, they're not going to show us much in the teaser. Again, more islands back here behind this. If we look behind Big Man right here, we can see a map with an orb in the middle and an X right here, and there's a lot of land on this map. So considering the orb is in the middle of that, I'm assuming this is the map that we are going to be on, the world. Then again, we also see the only little bits of gameplay that we get from this, but we can see there's stuff washed up on shore. And then back here, we can see even more. And as you can see, there's a lot. It goes back further. There's a cliff there. There's a lot here, and there's stuff washed up here. There's a bit over here. There's a little wooden structure there. And we can see more even behind the character here. It doesn't, and it just feels like a lot bigger. And then even here where we see this, and we're getting to one of the most important parts. If we go back a little bit though, we could see something interesting. Back here, we can see some sort of structure, a building maybe, or I mean, it looks like it could be some sort of creature. It's possible. But this right here is super important. So there we go. We see the water. This little machine right here is super important because, as you know, Inklings cannot go in water. They can't do that. They just can't. They will die. So that's why this submarine, I feel like, is so important. This is definitely a submarine or a boat of some sort. And because this is a submarine, that means that underwater, and why I think underwater will be explorable and part of the world in large, is because when we look at the raft that we're shown off, we can see a lot of the underwater coral and stuff. Like, that could, yeah, just be Nintendo adding some extra detail underwater. That's really cool. But I feel like it might be a little bit more than that. They might be able to explore things under the water. But obviously, again, you can see how big this world is. It stretches far out there. And we have trees here. I mean, it just feels a lot bigger. This is obviously straight after the crash. You can even see way back here, there's like a tree or something right there. And there's just a lot of area. We see more of the same stuff here. More of this. It does look like ray tracing is going to be implemented. I don't know why anybody else would want to know that, but yeah. Looks like ray tracing. So Splatoon Raiders looks to be an open world game just from what we can see in the trailer, and because it wouldn't feel fresh if it wasn't an open world game. But let me know your thoughts on Splatoon Raiders. Do you think it's going to be open world or more like Mario Odyssey? Or are they going to stupidly do a slightly bigger hub area, but with kettles? I don't know, but I'm pretty certain that it's open world. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys all on the next video.